Hey guys, what is going on? NFL Power Rankings for Week 3. So let me just say this. This power ranking was so hard to make because I am so indecisive. So if you don't like where your favorite team is at on this list, I am sorry. They could probably be somewhere else. I'm not saying like this is the perfect list or anything like that. I'm not saying this is the perfect power ranking because it is most definitely not perfect. But before we jump into this power ranking, I just want to ask if you guys could hit that thumbs up button because it really helps out the channel. So if you want to go down and hit the thumbs up button, it would really mean a lot to me. We're almost at 10K, guys. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers. Let's jump into this power ranking. At number 32, I have the New York Jets. So Zach Wilson had a pretty bad home opener. He threw 4 interceptions. His first 2 passes were interceptions. And that O-line for the Jets does not look good. I almost said that O-line for the Giants. I mean, that's also semi-true. I mean, the Giants O-line has actually looked pretty decent, but the Jets O-line does not look good. And I think that's affecting Zach Wilson. I think he knows this O-line is not good, and that pressure from the defense is actually, getting to him and maybe getting in his head a little bit. So not looking good for the Jets right now. At number 31, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. So their rookie quarterback doesn't look too great either. Honestly, I am surprised with how not great Trevor Lawrence looks. Yes, I know he plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars and there are not a ton of great players around him, but he is just making some bad decisions with the ball. He's throwing into double coverage a lot. I don't know. I'm really not liking what I'm seeing from Trevor Lawrence. Yes, I know it's only week 2 of his NFL career, but I expected him to be playing better. At number 30, I have the Detroit Lions. So this team is 0-2, but I have to say this. I like the direction that this franchise is going. They have played hard in both their games. They played against 2 very good teams in the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. They actually had the lead versus the Packers going into halftime, but they ended up losing. Yes, they're still 0-2. This team is rebuilding, but I like the direction that this franchise is going. At number 29, I have the Houston Texans. So this team was really in this game with the Browns when Tyrod Taylor was in the game. Unfortunately, Tyrod Taylor had to leave with an injury, and they just didn't play the same. Tyrod, he's having a really good season so far, and I just hope he's able to come back and start because we know what has happened with Tyrod when he has gone down with an injury. The rookie quarterback has ended up keeping the starting job with both the Browns and the Chargers, so hopefully Tyrod is able to come back. I just don't know how I feel about this team with Davis Mills at quarterback, so I have them at number 29 right now. At number 28, I have the Atlanta Falcons. So their game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was actually a lot closer than the final score, indicates. The defense, it's definitely still struggling, and Matt Ryan, he threw a few interceptions. This team is still 0-2, but I think this offense should take some more strides forward. I mean, they have Kyle Pitts on this offense. They have Calvin Ridley. Matt Ryan, I don't know how I feel about Matt Ryan right now. Is Matt Ryan washed? Is he washed? I don't know. He's not looking like young Matt Ryan right now, but they play the New York Giants next week, and that is the number 27 team on my power ranking. At number 27, I have the New York Giants. I'm a Giants fan, if you guys don't know, if you're new here. So if you want to see my live reaction to the absolute pain that was that game and that final field goal, go check out that reaction. I mean, pain. Just, it really doesn't get worse than that. I've seen a bunch of really bad losses as a Giants fan, but that's got to be one of the worst. At number 26, I have the Minnesota Vikings. So missing the game-winning field goal is back for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they were right there in this game with the Arizona Cardinals, which is impressive after how the Cardinals played last week versus the Titans, but I'm sorry, Minnesota. That's another tough loss right there. That's another painful loss. The Giants loss was painful, but if you're a Vikings fan, that is a pretty brutal loss. At number 25, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. So this score of this game versus the Bears makes this game look closer than it was. Joey B had 3 back-to-back interceptions. I was like, wait, do I need one more to back? They're back-to-back interceptions. Yeah, that's the right amount of backs. That's 3 backs. 3 not so great interceptions. You can't have that. I'm sorry, Joey B. I love you, Joey B, but you can't do that. At number 24, we have the team that beat the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chicago Bears. So they get the win versus the Bengals. Justin Fields ends up playing in this game because Andy Dalton leaves because of an injury. But I want to see more from this Bears team before I put them in the top 20. I want to see them play versus a better team and win versus a better team before I put them in the top 20. At number 23, I have the Indianapolis Colts. So yes, this team is 0-2. They haven't won a game yet, but their offense was actually moving the ball pretty well versus really good Rams defense until Carson Wentz left the game. I mean, they were really in this game in the fourth quarter, but Carson Wentz unfortunately has sprained both his ankles, which is definitely concerning. We'll see what happens with Carson Wentz. Is he going to play this week? I don't know. Is he going to be out for a while? I don't know. This Colts team, it's tough. I mean, they were in this game. I don't know how to feel about this Colts team. I was pretty confident in them heading into the season, but now they don't have a win, and Carson Wentz injuries are starting to pop up. So we'll see what happens. I still feel like this team can be good, but Carson Wentz needs to be healthy. At number 22, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. So they were competitive versus this really good 49ers team, but they ended up losing. Let me say this. I do think this Eagles team is going to be a lot better than people expected this season, including myself. Like, I think they're going to have a much better record than I expected because they were really in this game with the 49ers. And Jalen Hurts looks solid. He is not afraid to throw the ball down the field. Yeah, so the Eagles, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. As a Giants fan, I will admit that. I will say I think the Eagles are going to surprise a lot of people, and I think they're really going to prove me wrong. Like, I will say I was wrong about the Eagles at the end of the season because I think I will be wrong about the Eagles by the end of the season. At number 21, I have another NFC East or NFC Beast team. I have the Washington football team. You know, they almost lost to the Giants. They almost lost to them. The Giants kind of gave them that win. The Giants kind of wrapped that win up in some nice wrapping paper, put a bow on top of it, and said, here you go, Washington football team, for you. Brutal loss for the Giants, I'll say that again. But listen, Washington won that game. They did. They won that game fair and square. I'm not going to take anything away from them. And Taylor Heineke, I mean, like, he can play. Like, he can make things happen. I don't know. He has that little bit of Fitz magic in him. So I gotta say, like, he can make some stuff happen. At number 20, I have the Miami Dolphins. So unfortunately, Tua fractured his ribs versus the game this past weekend versus the Bills. And he's gonna be out this upcoming Sunday. And really, the Dolphins were just dominated by this Bills defense. It was a really bad loss for the Dolphins, but hopefully Tua will be back soon. At number 19, I have the New England Patriots. This Patriots defense, they had 4 interceptions versus Zach Wilson. I mean, they just made the Jets home opener a nightmare for Zach Wilson. Mac Jones, he honestly didn't look that great in this game. He really didn't do much, but then again, it's only week 2 of his NFL season, of his NFL career. Sorry, not just his NFL season, his NFL career. So wouldn't freak out about that, but I honestly just wasn't too impressed with him that game. At number 18, I have the Tennessee Titans. So Derrick Henry just wore down the Seahawks defense as this game went on. I mean, he had 182 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Just unreal numbers. I think he just tired this defense out. I think this defense was like, I can't stop this guy anymore. Like, I'm too tired. So yeah, the Titans won that game in overtime, and I really think they were able to come back in that game because they just tired out that Seahawks defense. They just made them so tired. At number 17, I have the Carolina Panthers. So this was a really surprising, but a really good win versus the Saints. The Panthers defense, it looks really impressive, and it made Jameis look like a totally different quarterback than the Jameis we saw in week 1. At number 16, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this offense, you know, could become a problem for this team. I don't know how I feel about Ben Roethlisberger right now. Is he washed? Like, I don't know. I mean, he's still throwing the ball down the field and stuff, but he's not being efficient or anything like that. The defense for the Steelers team, it still looks good. I know the defense dealt with some injuries in this game, but I think this defense is going to be, you know, the part of this team that allows them to win games. I think the defense is going to have to carry this team, to be honest with you. At number 15, we have the New Orleans Saints. So my question is this the same team that played the Green Bay Packers week 1? is this team that played the Carolina Panthers week 2 the same team that played the Green Bay Packers week 1? Because I don't think so. Like, I find that very, very hard to believe. At number 14, I have the Denver Broncos. So Teddy B, he looked awesome yet again. He was really not afraid to throw the ball down the field this game. Courtland Sutton had a crazy, crazy game. I mean, yes, they won versus the Jaguars this week. Yeah, I want to see how they play versus a better team, but they're 2-0, and the Broncos definitely look like a good team right now. At number 13, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. Herbert, he had 2 costly interceptions in this game versus the Cowboys. Chargers, they have another painfully close loss, I guess you can say. Another painful last-second close game loss. But it was against a good Cowboys team, so I guess, it's not the worst, ? It's not like the worst. It was a tough loss. It was a tough loss, I will say that, but I think this Chargers team will still be good. Hopefully, this is just one game. Hopefully they're not going to go back to losing close games at the last second. Again. Hopefully this is just a one-off game. At number 12, I have the Buffalo Bills. So this defense looked really, really good this week versus the Dolphins. They won this game by so much this week. They really dominated this game. But I don't want to overreact here. So I will duck and say this. Does Josh Allen not look the same as he did last year to anyone else? Just me? Okay, I was afraid to say that, but I just want to put that out there. At number 11, I have the Seattle Seahawks. So they really let this game versus the Titans slip away from them. They lost this game in overtime, and they are in the NFC West, obviously, and that division is so good. They are now in last place. At 1-1, they are now in last place in the NFC West. Everyone else in that division is undefeated. At number 10, we have the Green Bay Packers. So the Packers are back, Aaron Rodgers is back, that offense is back, and the Packers are looking like the Packers we all expected to see this season. I still want to see how they play versus a playoff team, because they did play the Lions and the Saints, and we know they lost to the Saints. Yes, the Saints were a playoff team, but they lost really bad to the Saints, so I want to see how they play now versus the playoff team, but it looks like the Green Bay Packers are heading in the right direction. At number 9, I have the Dallas Cowboys. So this offense is definitely a top 5 offense in the NFL. I mean, Tony Pollard had over 100 rushing yards. They have Zeke in that backfield. They have Tony Pollard in that backfield. I mean, they have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. I mean, this offense is so good. And obviously Dak. Dak is the center of that offense right there. I mean, not the center of the offensive line, but this offense runs through Dak. I mean, Dak is the heart and soul of this offense and this team. The defense is creating turnovers. It's looking so much better than I expected. And yeah, the Cowboys are looking good. I will say that the Cowboys are looking really legit right now. At number 8, I have the that was like a voice crack, but it wasn't. I just strained my voice. At number 8, I have the San Francisco 49ers. This team, they must have the worst luck with injuries. I don't know a team that has worse injury luck than the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe the Ravens, but even going back to last season with the San Francisco 49ers, the injury luck they had, I don't know what's going on with the 49ers and these injuries, but they're still undefeated. Yeah, it was a close game versus the Eagles, but I want to see how they play versus the playoff team, but they are undefeated right now, so I'm going to keep them at this number 8 spot on my power ranking. At number 7, I have the Baltimore Ravens. This has to be the team that had the most impressive win this week. Lamar, he put this team on his back in the 4th quarter. The defense, they came up with the big fumble, and this was just a really, really big win for this team versus the Kansas City Chiefs. What an exciting game, though. I mean, that game was awesome. The games this season have been absolutely fantastic. All of them, really. Especially the primetime games. They've been fantastic. At number 6, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. So you might be saying, wow, that's way too high for the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, guess what? I don't care. I am all in on this crazy, crazy Raiders team. I don't care. I love, this Raiders team. I feel like it's so crazy and unpredictable. But they have won 2 really good games versus the Ravens and versus the Steelers. Those are 2 good teams. They're undefeated, so they deserve to be at number 6, in my opinion. I'm not going to move them down after they won a game. They deserve to be in this top 10. I'm not moving this team down until they lose a game. I don't care. And Derek Carr is having a really great start to the season. I love this Raiders team. I don't know. They make me smile. Who would have thought? And Raiders fans are pretty awesome. So Yeah, I don't know. The Raiders see, I'm smiling. The Raiders make me smile. This team makes me smile. At number 5, I have the Arizona Cardinals. So Kyler Murray is looking like an MVP. Yes, he threw 2 interceptions this week versus the Minnesota Vikings, but he also threw for, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown, so he was doing more than enough for this team. I was kind of surprised, that this Cardinals defense didn't do more versus this Vikings offensive line. But listen, the Cardinals are still undefeated, and they're looking like they have no problem putting points on the board. So even if that defense does struggle at times, Kyler Murray's going to be like, no problem, guys. I'll just throw for an extra, 100 yards or something. He's going to be like Dak last season when that Cowboys defense was really bad, and Dak was throwing for 400 or 500 yards before he got injured per game. At number 4, I have the Cleveland Browns. So I honestly thought they were going to play better versus the Texans. They really didn't get a nice lead in that game versus the Texans until Tyrod Taylor went out of that game. I still think this is a good team, so I'm not going to move them down after a win, but I do want to see a more dominant win from this Cleveland Browns team. At number 3, I have the Kansas City Chiefs, so I moved them down from the number 2 spot because they did lose, but obviously I still think the Chiefs are a really, really good team, one of the best teams in the league, and obviously still a Super Bowl contender. And it's crazy though, because the Chiefs lost in September. It happened. The Chiefs lost in September. It was a tough loss. That's a good loss. I don't want to say it's a good loss because a loss is never a good thing, but it was a close loss. It wasn't like the Ravens went in there and won by 20 or something. It was a close loss, and it's crazy that the Chiefs aren't undefeated after 2 weeks. They're defeated after week 2. They're not an undefeated team after 2 weeks of the season. At number 2, I have the Los Angeles Rams. So Matt Stafford is looking like an MVP candidate. The defense honestly was letting the Colts drive down the field, but they said bend, don't break, and that's what they did. They bent, but they didn't break, and that's how you win football games, especially when Matt Stafford is playing the way he's playing. Your defense can afford to bend and not break. It's okay. I do want to see a little more from this defense, though, because this defense is supposed to be so good. But listen, I'm not concerned about this Rams defense bending and not breaking because, like I said, Matt Stafford seems to throw a touchdown every single drive. So at number 1, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this team is number 1 still because they're undefeated. So I can't make them not number 1, and they're the reigning Super Bowl champions. There's nothing that shows me that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't the number 1 team in the NFL right now. I'm honestly just mesmerized by Tom Brady. He was drafted before I was even 1 year old, and he just decided to throw 5 touchdowns in a singular game at the age of 44. He's 44 years old. He's closer to 50 than he is closer to 35. That's nuts. That's just absolutely nuts. I don't think it hit me till this year that, Tom Brady is actually old. He's yeah, we always talk about him being old, but it's okay, he's old for an athlete. No. He's literally almost 50 years old, and he's throwing 5 touchdowns a game. He's not acting like an old quarterback. We're sitting here acting oh, is Matt Ryan washed? Is Ben Roethlisberger washed? And they're so much younger than Tom Brady. Tom Brady, GOAT for real. So that is it for this video, guys. Make sure you drop a thumbs up on this video if you haven't already. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of this power ranking, and subscribe, guys. Peace.